Thank you. Thanks. Good morning, everyone. So first of all, let me thank the scientific committee and the organizing committee and the officers of IPS for this selection of this topic. It is I already told chairpersons, it is a very controversial and very sensational topic. I think to my knowledge, in the last 76 years of Indian Psychiatric Society, I think never there was a talk on reincarnation, except once in South Zone Conference, I invited Dr. Satwant Paricha to Vijayawada and she spoke on that. But otherwise, psychiatrists never spoke. And because it is very controversial, many people say that why this unnecessary for us? What is the relevance for psychiatry? So I am going to answer those things now. Other thing is, it is controversial, but it is interesting, and you can't find in our textbooks also. So probably I think we have to make a lot of homework for this. Yeah. So is it relevant to psychiatry? See, we have DNB psychiatry, all of you know, and recently one of our final year resident, Dr. Shubham, in our journal clubs, he brought one this thing like that. A young boy, 12 years, visited India recently along with his parents on vacation, as this was his first visit to this part of the world. The boy went on by narrating events about his past life. He identified a house where he claimed to have lived in and described the entire inner structure of the house also. He spoke about his past life, family members. The local residents confirmed the existence of such a family about 30 years ago. Since this visit, the boy has been disturbed emotionally. He has recurrent dreams about his supposed previous life, cannot identify himself with his parents and is preoccupied with thoughts of previous life. This particular case posed a real challenge. His history and examination of mentalist did not lead into significant psychiatric diagnosis. The only finding was that of anxiety related to his supposed previous life. And some anxiolytics were given, but there was no response. So first of all, what is reincarnation? Reincarnation is the belief that when a person dies, he is reborn again. Very simple. Reincarnation is regarded as the mental continuum of an individual. The body may not continue, but the mental condition, the mental continuum will continue. Belief in reincarnation is an ancient phenomena and exists in many cultures and religions. So before I go into the topic, I just want to ask our audience, how many of you believe in reincarnation? Please raise your hands. Yeah, more than 10. How many of you don't believe in reincarnation? Little more. Okay. How many of you say that I don't know? Yes, good number. Okay, let us see all these things. How many cases of reincarnation are scientifically documented in the world? And who should document? Statistics on reincarnation. Total number of cases recorded so far with ample evidence were 2,650 till today in the world literature. Most of them are on Asian countries, 2078, India 500, Myanmar, Turkey, Sri Lanka, Lebanon 1578, and other countries like USA, Europe, Canada, Africa also, they also reported. What is the source? Yeah. See, interestingly, all the studies done on reincarnation are by psychiatrists, not by parapsychologists or psychologists. Ian Stevenson, he was the head of the psychiatry chair at the University of Virginia, and there was a separate section called the Division of Perceptual Studies. He was the pioneer. Entire his life, he dedicated to the study of reincarnation. He moved from different parts of the world, including India. Yeah, he is Ian Stevenson. He is founder and former director of the USA Division of the Perceptual Studies. Then Bruce Grayson, till 2002 he was there. Then afterwards he took over. He also continued the same studies. Now, recently, now at present, Dr. Jim Tucker, he is the director of all these people at the Virginia University, they are doing studies on this till today. Yeah, of course. He is another man who is now alive. Brian Leaves, the past life regression therapy. This is where it comes into the conflict with psychiatric practice. He is doing what is called PLR, past life regression therapy. Whether it is acceptable, whether it is real or scientific, we are going to tell. So Ian Stevenson is a Canadian psychiatrist settled in America and leading researcher in the field of reincarnation. He believed that reincarnation could help explain human behavior and development. Stevenson studied thousands of cases of children who claimed to remember past lives. He traveled all over the world, including India, to collect cases and publish detailed reports of some of them in journals. He wrote so many books. They are available in Amazon also. How to explain human behavior? Stevenson proposed a new theory. Usually we say that for human behavior, nature and nurture are responsible, genetics and nurture. Stevenson proposed a third dimension. In addition to these two, human behavior could also be explained on his past life experiences. Sometimes we say, why this fellow is behaving like this? No family history, environment is excellent, brought up is excellent, but still he behaves oddly. Why? That's what then Stevenson's theory comes to that. Probably in his past life he was like this. That's why he is behaving like that, when we can't explain based on nature and nurture. Dr. Satwant Paricha, probably people from NIMHANS, when we were doing MD, she was there. She was doing, her PhD thesis was on reincarnation. And Stevenson was the guide for her. Stevenson came to India and she did the studies in India. Wherever there were reincarnation cases in India, she and Ian Stevenson went there throughout the country and they studied these cases. And she was a professor of clinical psychology at NIMHANS also. Yeah. Now coming to the history of science, philosophy, beliefs and reincarnation. Now coming to some of the philosophers. Plato, one of the most famous philosophers of his time, gave the concept of metempsychosis. He says that the soul is immortal and passes through cycles of reincarnation in birth and release from the body at death. That's what Plato said. Then Pythagoras, one of the pioneers in mathematics, the Pythagoras theorem, in a right angle triangle, a square is equal to b square plus c square. This is a Pythagoras theorem, very popular even today. He says that Pythagoras believed that the soul is immortal and goes through the series of reincarnations. The soul moves from one body to another within a cycle, and the moral conduct of the individual in their previous life determines the nature of their next life. That's what Pythagoras, even though he was a scientist, he was a mathematician, he strongly believed in reincarnation. And Pythagoras went to the existence of, he believed that everything has a human soul and that animals that are consumed may have been humans in a previous life. So since then, a non-vegetarian became vegetarian, thinking that even in the animal meat also, probably there were humans in the past life. So he totally became a vegetarian since then, once he believed this theory. Then Benjamin Franklin, you know, he was one of the electrophysicists. He was also a scientist. He is a famous scientist who gave many important laws of electricity. He was a strong believer of reincarnation. Why I am telling all these things? Not only philosophers, religious people, but the scientists, mathematicians, they also believed strongly in reincarnation in those days. Then coming to some of the religious and spiritual thoughts. Ravi Shankar, the art of living guru at Bangalore, just see what he says. Sound please, sound.
Go to any psychological clinics and parapsychological clinics are there, and they even need to experience the whole thing, you know. But I tell you, I am an example for you, and for sure there is impact. I've come here, I know I have come here before also. You have also come, but something you have forgotten, that's all. It's matter of brushing the memory. We don't keep coming back. This mind is energy, and energy can neither be destroyed nor be turned off the modern. Okay? Mind energy can never be destroyed. This body, all that goes back to the same soil from where it has come, but the spirit, the energy of the mind, that stays on and comes back.
Okay. What about Christianity? Whether Christianity believes in reincarnation? The Italian philosopher who was a Christian and cosmological theorist, Bruno, believed in reincarnation and he was sentenced to be burnt at the stake. Because the Christianity, the church didn't believe in reincarnation. When he said reincarnation is there, he was burnt alive. Then Christians believe in what is a resurrection, not reincarnation. There is a difference. In reincarnation, the person is born in a different body as a different person. But in resurrection, the same person is born in the same body. That's what he says. Just see this. What he says.
Okay, the Bible never says reincarnation is true. The Bible simply says resurrection is true. So if someone's going to tell me that they believe in reincarnation, I'm going to ask them, what's your evidence that reincarnation is true? The same way I hope they'll ask me, what's your evidence that resurrection is true? The reason that I believe resurrection is true is because the historical evidence is that 3 days after he died, Jesus resurrected from the dead. And over a period of 40 days, appeared to over 500 people who saw him at different times in different places, risen from the dead. When someone confronts me with reincarnation, I have no past life recall. I don't remember being alive before this life. None of my family or friends do. So I don't see the evidence to support reincarnation. Do you believe in reincarnation? If so, why?
Okay. Then coming to Hinduism. Hinduism is now out of the many religions, Hinduism, Buddhism and Jainism, they strongly believe in reincarnation. According to Hinduism, they say that karma, the past life karma, determines how you will be born, whether you will be born as an animal or a super being or an ordinary man, whatever it is. So the karma siddhanta is basing on Hindu philosophy, they strongly believe. What about Buddhism? What Buddhism says about reincarnation? Please see this.
The concept of rebirth is closely tied to the concept of karma. In Buddhism, the idea is that our actions in this life will determine our experience in future lives, and that this cycle of birth, death, and rebirth will continue until we reach enlightenment. The Buddhist view of rebirth is different from the idea of reincarnation found in other spiritual traditions. In Buddhism, there is no permanent self or soul that moves from one life to the next, but rather a continuous process of birth, death, and rebirth, shaped by the karmic consequences of our actions.
Okay. Dalai Lama is a Tibetan Buddhist, and according to the Buddhist belief, the Dalai Lama is a living Buddha. Buddhists believe that he is a rebirth of Buddha only. They search for the next Dalai Lama. So after this, who is the next Dalai Lama? Begins after the previous one passes away. Then only the new Dalai Lama is traced somewhere. They have got their own methodology to detect. Probably you see this girl Shambhavi from Kurnool district. It was a story a few years back. She said she is the rebirth of Buddha, and then Dalai Lama came to that village and he took her to the Buddhist place, and she was there for some time like that. This was a very sensational case of rebirth of Shambhavi from Andhra Pradesh. Yeah, then coming to Islam, what Islam says about reincarnation. The Quran does not explicitly mention reincarnation. Most Muslims do not believe in it. Islam teaches that humans have a finite life on earth and are judged and rewarded accordingly in the same life. Quranic references, they all don't believe. The Prophet Muhammad rejected the idea of reincarnation as reported in Sahih Muslim. However, there are some Muslim sects who believe in reincarnation, but not all the Muslims. Now coming to now we have all about philosophical and research, religious and spiritual. Now let us come to what are the scientific studies done on this. Consciousness theory. Does consciousness pass on during rebirth? That is the main thing. Across many religions and beliefs, consciousness or some energy or soul passes on from one form to another, explaining rebirth, like the image shown above. Coming to this. So does consciousness arise in the brain? That is the basic thing. Or is it a universal? Is it only limited to the brain of that particular individual? And if he dies, what happens to consciousness? But they say that the consciousness is not limited only to the brain of that individual, but there is universal consciousness. We are going to that. Many neuroscientists believe that the brain creates consciousness and that consciousness is synonymous with arousal. That's what we studied. The National Institute of Health definition, normal human consciousness is defined as the presence of a wakeful arousal state with the awareness and motivation to respond to self and environment. This is what we study. And these are the eminent Sri Lankan physiologist. He says that many neurotransmitters have been implicated, including Stahl's psychopharmacology. 4th edition mentions this. These are important in consciousness and arousal: histamine, dopamine, acetylcholine, norepinephrine, and serotonin. Then coming to the theory of a universal consciousness, it is not just one brain, one individual, it is a universal consciousness. What it says, many experts say that atoms, this is a very, very important point you should note, atoms and electrons carry their own consciousness. They have their own consciousness. It may be difficult for us to believe. This can explain how consciousness travels between different bodies after death, why atoms and particles hence explain. The body may die, the body may disintegrate, the brain may die, but the atoms and protons, there is no death, and they carry a consciousness. That's what they say. Brain Randolph is a popular American physicist at Columbia. He explains that atoms and molecules have their own consciousness field, which can explain universal consciousness.
How can mindless, thoughtless particles come together in a configuration that somehow yields the inner sensation of thought, feeling, emotion? How can they possibly generate that if they themselves don't have any intrinsic version of those conscious qualities from the get-go? Now, some people respond much as those in the past did with light. They say those particles can't create consciousness on their own. There has to be something else, a consciousness field that we somehow tap into, or the particles themselves may themselves have a little proto-conscious quality.
Okay. Now, after death, body disintegrates and so do the tissues and organs. But atoms, that is what they say, and dissipate in the environment. These atoms and protons, they carry with themselves a consciousness field. That is the scientific explanation as described till now. During rebirth, these atoms can form the new brain, leading to transfer of consciousness, the memories. This has been described by Dr. Jim Tucker. He's a psychiatrist. He's a strong believer in reincarnation at the Virginia University. He says that he is one of the recent authorities who is alive on reincarnation. You just read the bottom line. You did not go into this thing. He says that consciousness lies at the level of electrons and protons in the whole universe. When a person dies, this consciousness persists and becomes part of another brain, hence containing another life. That's what Tucker says. Yeah. Now coming to some psychological theories. We are talking about philosophical, religious, spiritual, and physics, science. Now coming to what about the psychologists say? Yeah, you know Emil Durkheim, all of us are familiar with his suicidal hypothesis, altruistic, economic, all of you know. But Durkheim's another hypothesis on this one, reincarnation. What Durkheim says is about what he called conscience collective, which means collective consciousness. His idea of collective consciousness refers to beliefs and sentiments common to average members. He says that most of the members of the society, they have got common sentiments, common feelings. So these are transferred. Yeah, he says that, see, most of these symbols, see, if you see the Indian medical association, psychiatric association, this serpent symbol is there universally. What he says is these are universal symbols and it is a part of the universal consciousness. So whether I may not have gone to other countries or like that, but they also believe in that. They have got their own symbols which are there in other countries also. That's what he says. You see this, the upper part of the painting is from France. The lower part is Bhimbetka in Madhya Pradesh. You see the similarity in the art, almost they are same. So those days, nobody traveled from here there, but the paintings resemble almost same. So they say that the shared consciousness can suggest a universal consciousness which can also explain. So probably in our consciousness, these fields are there, whether these people have gone there and seen, but the same things are repeated. In this also, probably this explains a part of the universal consciousness. Then what about Carl Jung? What he said about this one, reincarnation. Carl Jung, who explained the collective unconscious, also believed, he strongly believed in reincarnation. Jung's collective unconscious is the universal consciousness of mankind that lies at a subconscious level. His archetypes and all those things we know. So he also believes in consciousness. What about Freud? What he said about reincarnation? Freud explained that the concept of rebirth is an attempt to deal with the fear of death. All of us have got fear of death. So we think that, okay, we are born again. So that solace we have got. As people fear death, they are universally in denial. Nobody wants to die. So there is a denial defense mechanism. This leads to concept of rebirth. Okay, if I die also again, I am reborn. Psychoanalytically, believing in reincarnation leads to initial hopes for a better life. Now this life, I am very unfortunate. I could not achieve what I wanted. At least probably next birth, I will try to achieve all those things. So that will give a lot of solace to the human psyche. According to Freud, the fantasy life after death, the fantasy of life after death is universal. That's what Freud said. Now psychiatric, now coming to the hardcore psychiatry. Probably some people, why this topic for us? Now let us come to our hardcore psychiatry. In what way it is different? The differential diagnosis of reincarnation. One is many psychiatric conditions and psychological phenomena can explain past life memories in children especially, also in adults, claims of having a past life, difference in behaviors of children especially and adults suggesting a past life. These are some of the ICD-11 diagnostic categories. One is the dissociative identity disorder, dissociative trans-delusional disorder, fraud, malingering, xenoglossy, cryptomania. I will come to little briefly explain. Foreign language syndrome and foreign accent syndrome, memory distortions, child prodigies, autism, confabulation. Many cases of reincarnation behave as if they are a different person. This has been understood as a past life behavior but can also be caused by dissociative disorders. It is a common experience in our practice. Many times research people say that they are born in the past life and they behave like that. Possession also. Yeah. Then you see the last one, delusional disorder. You see the religious delusions or false beliefs about religion that are held firmly and are inconsistent with reality. Many people say that I was a delusional disorder patient. When it comes to us, he may say that in the past life he was so and so. So that is also one of the differential diagnosis for reincarnation. Yeah, fraud. Some people just are malingering or fraud, whatever they say. Many times people may create false stories of a past life or hidden motives. They have got their own agenda of claiming a past life. To gain attention of fame, in the article given here, it was observed that patients who report past life memories might give more importance to fame and by telling that they were this thing, they want headlines in the newspaper, TV, radio, and some attention from the others. This may be one of the things. For religious position or to increase, even that Shambhavi case which I said in Kurnool district, she was said that she is the rebirth of Buddha. She was taken by Dalai Lama to their place. So she got a lot of importance. For sensationalism. Some people do this for sensationalism. Headlines will come. Yeah. What is xenoglossy? These are some of the new terms for, especially for some of us. Xenoglossy, evidence for reincarnation. What is xenoglossy? Xenoglossy is a phenomena in which a person is able to speak, write, or understand a foreign language that they could not have acquired by natural. Suddenly some foreign language, which they have never seen or experienced. Those who believe in reincarnation state that cases of xenoglossy is recorded by past life memories. Then they say, yes, probably this fellow was born in that place, West Bengal or somewhere. That's why he's speaking Bengali now. What is cryptomnesia? The critics of reincarnation suggest that xenoglossy is merely an expression of subconscious language learning. This is the critics of reincarnation. Some people are naturally gifted in learning new languages, may pick up and words and phrases without noticing in childhood. Hence, they will believe that the language memory appeared out of nowhere. This is called cryptomnesia, that is children amnesia. A person with cryptomnesia may recall a memory without recognizing it as a memory and instead believe it is something new. Then foreign accent syndrome. Foreign language syndrome, foreign accent syndrome, there are two things. Foreign language syndrome is a condition that causes a person to switch from their native language to entirely a different new language. Whereas in foreign accent syndrome, the language is same, but the accent is different. A Telugu fellow will speak only in a Telugu with the American accent, which have never heard or gone to America or never exposed to Americans, like that. So, some experts believe that in a similar way like xenoglossy, these syndromes may be caused by subconscious past life memories. Then, reincarnation is a disease. But on the contrary, according to many researchers, foreign language syndrome and foreign accent syndrome may be signs of disruption. This is important for, again, psychiatrists and neurologists. Brain dysfunction. These are some of the neurological conditions where they may speak this foreign language or foreign. One is left hemisphere strokes and tumors, traumatic brain injury, migraine, multiple sclerosis, and primary progressive aphasia. In these conditions, some people may have foreign language or foreign accent syndrome. Is reincarnation just false interpretation by scientists? Selective thinking, this is another thing. See, there may be so many thoughts, so many thinkings, but whatever I want, I will selectively decide. Understand? So, selective thinking is a process that one focuses on favorable evidence to justify a belief. If I believe in reincarnation, I collect all evidence for favor of reincarnation. If I don't believe, I collect all the evidence against reincarnation. So, this is called selective thinking. What you want, you take it. What you don't want, you oppose. Some disbelievers of reincarnation explain that claims of evidence for reincarnation originate from selective thinking. Ian Stevenson, probably they say that he has selective thinking of having reincarnation is there. That's why he collected all those things. That is the criticism of Ian Stevenson. Is reincarnation theory just a false memory? In false memory syndrome, this is another thing. A person remembers some events which never really happened. Pseudo memories or memory distortions. Many times during therapy sessions, some patients may be suggestive and form false memories like that of a child abuse. When you suggest in the counseling, oh, you had a child sexual abuse, the child may say yes. There may not be true, but still it is a false this thing. False memory syndrome may account for the memory construction process which leads people to remember living past life. These are other things. Child prodigies. Child prodigies exhibit intelligence or talents that could not be explained by either heredity or environment. You see some of the children we see, especially autistic children, high functioning autism. Many people believe that it happens as a result of past life. So the believers in reincarnation say that yes, this child in last birth, he was very genius. That's why he has got this extraordinary talent and ability. That's why he's speaking like this. His musical ability, mathematical ability, that's how they explain. Then other thing is gender dysphoria. They say that, there's an article in this, a boy claiming that he wants to change, there is a girl in him. He has a gender identity disorder, let us say. Reincarnation says that probably in the last birth, he was born as a girl. That's why, even though in this birth, physically he is a boy, but still he has that memories of girl. So he wants to change his gender. That's what this childhood gender non-conformity, there was an article here, that's what they say that. Yeah. Brody and Haraldson hypothesis. Brody and Haraldson made hypothesis about psychosocial factors that may cause past life memories. What they say is, these are some of the rich fantasy life. Children who are having a very good fantasy, they talk about reincarnation. People who are highly suggestible, with widespread belief in reincarnation. Dissociative tendencies, who have got dissociative tendencies. Attention-seeking behavior. Because when a child suddenly tells, I was so-and-so, so there is a lot of attention by the media, people, society, everybody. Then disturbed relationship with parents, the family dynamic, then probably some children behave like that. Yeah. Critics of Ian Stevenson. There are so many critics of Stevenson, but till his death, he was the same opinion of reincarnation was there. Some investigators point out methodological flaws in Stevenson's, because Stevenson's most of these are only case studies. There was no very systematic controlled studies. Many scientists believe that there was a confirmation bias in these studies. This means that Ian Stevenson and his team might have sometimes selectively interpreted and favored information which confirms reincarnation. That's what his critics say that. When investigating reincarnation cases in other countries, he's because Ian Stevenson doesn't know Bengali. He came to India along with Satpant and to most of the places. Probably the translators might have given something they could not translate in a correct way. Stevenson disregarded the role of cultural conditioning. Most of his cases were based on anecdotal evidence. Reincarnation runs short of a well-developed and systematic study. Of course, that is there. Here's another one. Now, this is another popular. Hyderabad 2-3 doctors are doing this. PLR, past life regression. This is another psychic. This is a challenge to mental health. My title is Myth of Reincarnation, Challenge to Mental Health. So, some people are doing here, and then in Hyderabad there are 2 modern medicine doctors who are doing this past life regression therapy. Past life regression, he is the one, Brian Weiss, he is one of the pioneers of past life regression therapy. He is still there, he is doing this in USA. It is based on the concept that past life memories of some unpleasant events adversely affect. Somebody has got some intractable pain abdomen or something. So they go to so many doctors, no use. So they come to psychiatrists, probably no use. Then they will go to these people. They say that in the past life we had some problem. So that's why this is affecting us. So they will take them into hypnosis, into past life regression and try to bring them out of that. That's how the problem is solved. That's what they say that. By different types of hypnosis, therapists gain access to their patients' previous lives. Brian Weiss is an American psychiatrist who specializes. Even now he believes and he strongly does this therapy. Can past life regression therapy be harmful? Is it probably harmful? Let us say, there is a risk of implanting false memories in this therapy. These people may try to implant. Yeah, yes, last time we had some sexual abuse. It may not be true, but still he says that. Many people also argue that in a hypnotic regression, repressed childhood memories come into action if wrongly interpreted as evidence of past life. See, these are some of the anxiety disorders, mood disorders, gender dysphoria have all been treated using, these are the different psychiatric conditions treated by these past life regression therapists. Some of the examples are this. Yeah. Then coming to pharmaco, are there any drugs which can help for taking them into past life? Psychoactive substances like psilocybin, LSD and DMT, that is dimethyltryptamine, bring changes in consciousness and subjective experiences. These are combined with hypnosis method to access past life memories in the subconscious. So, the study given here revealed that intensity of spiritual experiences induced by psychoactive substances is directly proportional to the perceived clarity of past life memories. So, these are some of the drugs which can also make people to think of past life and to experience that. Then case studies of reincarnation. A lot of case studies present on reincarnation across culture done over the last 100 years. This is not now, it is going on for 100 years. Systematic reviews in this field are very less, and hence case studies are seen as the main evidence. That is what I said. There are no systematic studies. Yeah. Recurrent features across cultures. Usually, at what age people come with reincarnation? Mostly children, very young children, at the age of 4 or 5 years, they first talk about reincarnation. Age of the ceasing, usually by about 8 to 10 years, you can't expect a person at the 50 years suddenly talking about reincarnation. Mostly it occurs in children. Frequency of mention of mode is death is, they will mention, last birth, I died by an accident, somebody killed me, somebody stabbed me, somebody shot me, like that. High frequency of violent. Most of these people are killed by violent methods. A natural death person may not reborn. But many studies showed that they had a very unnatural death, suicide or accident or very violent mode of death by killing by somebody else. Yeah, this is another important study. Reincarnation by the numbers. 60% of the children who claim past life memories are male. Very important. Roughly 70% of the children claim they died a violent or unnatural death. In those cases, just over 70% of the deceased individuals were male, the same ratio as in general population. 90% of the children say they were the same sex in a previous life as they are now. The median time between claimed death and rebirth is 16 months. That means last birth he died, so at least 1.5 years later, the reincarnation occurs. 20% of the children claim memories of the time between death and rebirth. There are so many case studies, but I am telling only one case study from India. Why it is interesting, Mahatma Gandhi investigated this case before independence. Shanti Devi's very celebrity case in India of reincarnation. Shanti Devi was born in Delhi in India, belonging to a simple life in an ordinary family. At the age of 4 years, when she began to speak in a dialect different from her family's and started recalling memories of a past life. These memories were detailed and consistent. Shanti Devi claimed to be Lugdi Devi, a woman who had lived in the town of Madura, around 160 kilometers from Delhi. She was born in Delhi. Then she said her husband lived in Madura and ran a clothing shop, shared daily routines of past life. She was also aware of her past life husband's extramarital affair. She told even my husband had extramarital affair. Mahatma Gandhi, so the case was taken to Mahatma Gandhi. Then Mahatma Gandhi set up a committee consisting of prominent lawyers, parliamentarians and national leaders. This happened in 1938, before independence. The committee traveled with Shanti Devi to Madura in 1935. They observed her movements and recorded what she said. The committee finally concluded that Shanti Devi was Lugdi Devi, thus they all supported reincarnation. Yeah. These are some of the birthmarks. Somebody said last birth, somebody axed me with this thing, some sickle, they have killed me, or some acts like that. So those birthmarks were seen on the neck or body somewhere, which our Satpanta Paricha also proved in Indian studies. Yeah, these are some of the birthmarks. In Satpanta Paricha's case studies, run over by a vehicle, both feet crushed, killed by gunshot, killed with axe, killed by gunshot. So these are the birthmarks also they have recorded in their study. Why only children talking about past life memories? While it is not entirely accurate to say only children speak of past life memories, young children are more likely to report such experience. This is because their developing minds are more open to fantasy and imagination, and they do not have the cognitive. See, like us, elders, we may not have that much of fantasy like children. And our cognitive abilities are very developed. In children, no, they don't have that cognitive abilities, reasoning, thinking, judgment may not be that much. So probably that may be the reason why children only talk about reincarnation. Why it is more common in Asian countries? Because our culture, South Asian countries are only, many cases are reported because we believe Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, they are more prevalent in South Asian countries. There are so many movies, Bollywood movies, South Indian movies, where reincarnation was whether this talk may be interesting or not, but movies taken on reincarnation were super duper hit. Starting from Madhumati, Milan, Mahal, Karch, Om Shanti, and so many things, they are super duper hit. So that means if the same talk is taken as a movie, all of us will go to the movie. But in a psychiatric conference, we hesitate to speak about this because it's a very controversial topic. This is a small bit video clip because any of my presentation will be on cinema clip. So at least I wanted to show this. This is Shah Rukh Khan's Om Shanti Shanti and rebirth of Om Makhija. Shah Rukh Khan, in the previous birth, he was Om Makhija. He was a production boy in a some Chopra's production house, cinema production house. Suddenly, some fire accident occurs in the studio and he dies. Shah Rukh Khan dies. After 32 years, again you see what happens here.
Oh, Dr. Sir, Mr. Kapoor, it's sad. Why did you tell me everything? I'm so serious. He's so... Oh my God.
Don't worry, sir. It was an accident. डॉक्टर साहब तो बता रहे थे कि वो तो पहले से बहुत अच्छा था।
मगर नर्सें उसकी फैमिली वगैरह आपको
आपका सेक्रेटरी हूँ सर, सब सामान मंगाना है।
यश चोपड़ा के सेट की तरह शानदार बेडरूम, गोल बेड के साथ। और जब मैं सुबह उठूंगा तो मेरे कदम संगे मरमर के फर्श पर पड़ने से पहले एक नौकर मखमल की चप्पल लाकर मेरे पैरों में डाल देगा। राजकुमार वाला सिल्क का गाउन पहनकर जब मैं बाहर निकलूंगा तो दूसरा नौकर जूस का ग्लास लेकर खड़ा होगा।
In the previous birth, he wanted to become a hero, could not become, he dies. So next birth, he born like a hero and see the royal life he enjoys. Previous life he was ordinary production boy. So that's what his rebirth, this was shown in this Om Shanti Shanti. Coming to the last two slides, what is the take home message from this presentation? In Hindu mythology, gods also die and reborn again. We believe that, no? Most of us Hindus, they believe it. Lord Vishnu, who is known for his 10 incarnations, that is Dashavatara, according to it, a person is reborn as he or she wants to enjoy a body for lasting happiness or peace. When all desires vanish, these persons will not be born again. So until your desires are fulfilled, you will be born again. Once finally everything is fulfilled, probably there may not be rebirth. That is what the Hindu philosophy believes. The human mind's greatest weakness is to make some concepts that fit into its belief systems, and they believe that this is the absolute truth. Each religion has its own vision of existence in view of rebirth. There is no scientific evidence. There is no scientific evidence to prove reincarnation. The suggestive cases of reincarnation cannot be independently verified, and there are psychological and cultural factors that can influence such claims. Or no one has done controlled experimental studies in reincarnation. Also, we don't have the instruments. We don't have any proper instruments to measure the process of rebirth. For example, I will give a fish net. A fisherman goes to the river. The net has got only 5 to 6 millimeters of the diameter. So when he fishes, so all the fishes above that size will be into the net. Probably small fish will escape. That doesn't mean that small fish are not there in the sea or river. Only thing is we don't have a proper net. If you have that net, that also can be solved. Probably in reincarnation also, probably one of the arguments is we don't have such scientific instruments which can prove reincarnation. Some argue that reincarnation is a paranormal phenomena transcending the boundaries of time, space and force. There can be many truths in this, but the ultimate truth is beyond reach of our mind. There are so many things which probably we cannot explain. Maybe this may be one of that. Reincarnation may be the great beyond, afterlife, and further research is essential to come to a valid conclusion. How can a belief in reincarnation bring about a better world? This is another philosophy. So, if we believe in reincarnation, is there something good happening to the society? You see this. I believe, that's what, it is not my statement. Walter Semke, he is a reincarnation researcher. What he says is, I believe if the majority of us were to accept a belief in reincarnation as opposite to our current belief of you only live once, then the state of our world could be remarkably better. How? He says, if we all realize that we may return to this world as a person of the opposite sex, belonging to another religion, country, race, etc., we would realize we are all one and not persecute each other. That is Vasayaka. Now, Hindus, Muslims, Christians, so many problems are happening. So probably if you think that reincarnation is there, probably next year I may be born in Pakistan or Bangladesh or America, I may be Christian, Muslim, like that. So if this belief is there, probably reincarnation has served some purpose. Then we think that, okay, what way to fight? Probably these are all Vasudhaika Kutumbam. Let us be all together. That may be a positive aspect of believing in reincarnation. As he rightly says, many problems in the world today, like racism, gender discrimination, and the countless conflicts and wars in the name of religion, would cease to make any in such a scenario. Coming to Ian Stevens' last statement, this will close. What he says is, the word proof should only, many people criticize Ian Stevens, there is no proof. There is no proof for your reincarnation. Then Ian Stevenson said, the word of proof should only be used in mathematics. In science and medicine, it is very difficult. It is only evidence. Most of us, what we are doing is evidence-based medicine. If you say proof, it is very difficult. For example, somebody, murder is occurred, on the knife, the fingerprints of one person are there. But the court is not convinced. The court wants, whether is there any eyewitness to that. Just because your fingerprints are there on the knife, you cannot say that he is the culprit. So, eyewitness should be there, and there will be DNA fingerprinting testing, like some blood stains matching with his DNA, that thing. This is proof. That is evidence. Having fingerprints on the knife is an evidence, but proof is ultimate. Then only the judge convicts him. So, like that, Ian Stevenson says, it is no proof in medicine. We can only say evidence. Yeah. He says, for example, this is a right angle triangle I told in the beginning, a square plus b square is equal to c square. You can prove it. In mathematics, you can prove it. But in medicine and science, it is very, very difficult to prove it. So again, I will ask at the end. Initially, I asked how many believe, how many. So now, after listening to this, how many of you believe in reincarnation? Please raise your hands. Let us see if the count is more. Yeah, definitely. My God. Excellent. 75% of the audience sees the last benches. That means my talk has given you some thoughts to believe in reincarnation. How many of you do not believe in reincarnation? Very few. The number has come down. Okay. How many of you say that you don't know? Okay. After all this study, I still say that I am not sure. Thank you.